So I think that the House of the Spirits is very unique in the fact that it jumps back and forth in between so many narrators, and it's told through so many different voices. In the beginning of the story, Esteban's voice is shown mainly when he attempts to defend his actions and explain why his granddaughter views his actions in a certain way that he disagrees with. Esteban and Alba are almost polar opposites and have very little in common throughout the story, and the fact that they both narrate it gives us, as readers, the advantage to see both sides of the story. I thought that hearing the story through Esteban and Alba's voices was definitely an advantage when the politics became really heavy towards the end of the story, mostly because they were both on opposite sides of the political war. The shifting narrators almost makes the story more credible because although they have different viewpoints and perspectives, both of their stories align with the events that are taking place. The different narrators also help the reader to understand the situation and the two sides of the war. I also think that Esteban's voice in the story changed my opinion of him a lot. When he first took over Tres Marias, I considered him to be a monster. Even as the story would shift to his viewpoint, I thought his ideas and his reasonings for his actions and why he did what he did to the women and the children that lived there were still horrible. However, as the story progressed and he became older, his narrative role helped me to realize that he was just a lost man. I even found myself feeling sorry for him by the end of the story after Alba had been kidnapped, especially because when he got older, it definitely seemed like he regretted most of the things that he did. Which, if it didn't shift in between narrators, we would have never known that he regretted his mistakes that he made when he was younger. I really enjoyed the way that the story was told by a third narrator that wasn't included or a part of the story because it stuck with just the facts. Then we would get Esteban's side of the story, and we got to see how he felt and what motivated him to do the things that he did. And then there was Alba, being as we got to know the entire family over the generations. We were able to hear from Alba at the end and the sufferings that she underwent as a result of the mistakes that her family made over time. Alba suffered at the hands of Esteban Garcia, which was the illegitimate grandson of Alba's grandfather. In short, her cousin. This is when the shifting of narrators really helps me to understand the story. We got to see how Esteban felt about the children that he gave to the women that he raped. He treated the women that he raped children, which were his children, but he never recognized them as his children. He treated them like they weren't even real, like as if they didn't exist. When he was the narrator, we got to hear his own opinions on why he didn't care for the children, because he didn't care about the women and considered them to just be his property. He didn't ever consider them or the children to be actual members of his family because he felt that they were below him. Then, through Alba's sufferings, we got to see the results of Esteban's coldness towards the children that he had created. The fact that he ignored the children and treated them like they were nothing created all of the hatred that Esteban Garcia had, which he took out on Alba because he was jealous. Overall, I believe that the shifting of the narrators is what gives the story its passion and what makes it feel so realistic for the reader.